Hello, good evening. Welcome to Mind Your Character. Bosede, Olusola-Obasa. How has your week been? It gives me plenty of excitement to be here again on this Friday to share with you. And I've been on a series since the month of February began titled Your Character, Your Relationship, or Your Relationship, Your Character. And it's all been about how much, in how many ways does your character affect, influence, or determine the health of your relationship? So many ways, if you ask me. And so we're here today doing one edition on the Mind Your Character show, and tomorrow we're having a class. Tomorrow, Saturday, 24th day of February, we are having a class. And what's the class about? We're coming to talk about red flags or counterproductive characters that have effect on our relationships. Mostly negatively. So welcome everybody. Welcome. If you're already joining me, let me see you wave and say, I'm here. Okay. And so before we go into what I've got today, I'd like to do a brief recap of some of the things we've done this month of February already, since this is going to be the last edition, except for the class we're holding tomorrow. Tomorrow's class promises to be very, very amazing. We are going to not just be helping you to identify those red flags, but I'm also going to be helping you to know how to manage them, how to take care of them. So it's packed with plenty of value tomorrow, and I would not want you to miss it for anything. So that's about tomorrow, the 24th, and it starts at exactly 10 a.m. All right. So as we begin to get into the heart of the matter today, I would like to say that I have in this month talked about a few things around how character affects your relationship. I've helped you see that negligence is one of the things that can destroy your relationship, and commitment is one of the things that can grow your relationship. So today I want to venture into commitment on a large scale. And my opening quote today will be the fact that love isn't just about emotions. Love is actually about commitment. Love isn't just about emotions. Love is actually about commitment. Love isn't just about emotions. Love is actually about commitment. Love is actually about commitment. Welcome, Madam Blessing. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Debbie, for joining on Instagram. And I have a beautiful sister of mine that is joining also on Facebook. Right now, we're also streaming this. We're doing a test streaming live to YouTube because we want to begin to maximize our YouTube platforms a lot more. So if you can, you also find this right now streaming on Mind Your Character YouTube. Howbeit tomorrow, for the class tomorrow, is hosted by RCV. you'll be able to join the class at 10 a.m. on RCV YouTube. RCV YouTube. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. on RCV YouTube. One of the things that you're sure about every time you meet my brand anywhere is the fact that value is all you can anticipate. If you had 100% value before I met you, get ready. You are going to be making 100 plus percent, because that's all that I'm signed up for. That's what my personal brand represents, and it's such an excitement for me every time I have an opportunity to add value to you. Commitment. You know, there is this thing. This morning at the staff session for relationship skill, we were discussing falling in love. Falling in love. And a lot of us said, why should you fall into something that is as important as that? Of course, we were able to agree with one another that falling in love is a phenomenon. It doesn't mean that people are on the floor. Albeit, we try to also bring our attention to the fact that love is so much more about commitment. So today I want to look at the lack of commitment as a poor character. I'm whetting your appetite towards tomorrow's timeout. I'm whetting your appetite towards tomorrow's timeout. Lack of commitment. Can any relationship survive without commitment? Can any love relationship survive without commitment? Can any love relationship survive without commitment? So that's what we are looking at today. So it means that commitment is supposed to be a key factor in any relationship that is doing well. So how does any relationship survive? The lack of it. Can emotions alone do it? You know, the fact that the person is romantic, the fact that the person is soft-spoken, the fact that the person is all of the other things that you can imagine, but they are not committed. But they are not committed. If the person is not committed, can you deal? Can you survive? What does commitment mean? I have a note that I'm going to use today just so that you can get so much from today. I intend to push out as much as I can push out today as we prepare for tomorrow's session. So I've got my note here with me, and I'm going to be taking it one step after another. Can any relationship, love relationship in particular, marriage in particular, survive without commitment? Is that possible? Can that happen? So you say that every love begins with some level of emotions. Every relationship begins with some level of affinity. They call it chemistry and the rest of them. But beyond that, there is the need to continue to be committed to one another. There's the need to continue to be committed to what both of you share. There's a need to be committed to the vision that you are trying to push. There's a need to be committed to every other person in the space of what concerns both of you. Can any relationship survive without it? Okay, so I can answer that question from a practical point of view. Because having been married for almost 20 years by October, I can tell you that there are moments when emotions, they are not feeling you and you are not feeling them. And there are moments when romance is not romancing you and you are not romancing anything. There are moments when it is commitment that keeps both of you together. For instance, commitment is a character trait, and it is one character trait that depicts sacrifice, that depicts putting everything you have got into what you have with that person. I'm welcoming you, Madam Gbemisola, Reverend Gbemisola Olaleye. Thank you for joining, Ma. Thank you so much. She's joining on Facebook. So today I'm talking about, can any relationship survive without commitment? Don't forget, I'm a character development trainer, so my interest is in looking at how your character affects your relationship. And today I'm picking one character trait called commitment, but I'm looking at the lack of it. Can any relationship survive the lack of commitment? A situation where all your partner has is they know how to kiss, they know how to peck, they know how to hold your hands, they know how to do all of that. But when it's time to show sacrifice, to show involvement, to show commitment, to show responsibility, to show all of those things in the family of commitment, they are lagging, like they step back. Can any relationship survive? And do you know that there are partners who have an issue with being committed to what they have? They wish that they could just continue to enjoy everything in the relationship without being committed to it. Commitment is not only finance, so don't think that I am going straight up for money. No. Financial commitment is there, but there are other kinds of commitment. For instance, if one's partner has a weakness in an area, commitment speaks to the fact that you are standing there as an accountability partner, helping them to walk through that weakness and make it strength. I've always believed that when you come into somebody's life as a spouse, as a partner, you should come in with the intention of making their lives better. You should come in with the intention of adding to them what is missing. There's a way I believe that whatever is missing in one person is available in their partner, so they are able to be of benefit to their partner in the area where they need help. So, but when the people in your life do not step up to that game, it means that they are falling short when it comes to commitment. They are falling short when it comes to commitment. So after all the emotions that usually starts relationship, I usually will tell myself that reality sets in, and you see that there's need to become responsible, and you find out that whatever you have professed gets tested. It is when what you have professed to one another gets tested and you stand the test of time, that is when you can tick the box of commitment. But you see, it's even a continuous thing. It's done consistently. So even commitment must be consistent for it to matter in this matter that we're talking about. One of the points I like to say is, while commitment is everything that has to do with throwing yourself in, giving the best of you, going beyond the call of duty, going the extra mile, doing the things that are expected of you and even more. Commitment can involve so much more than that. It can be in so many ways. It can be in helping with things that are not your role naturally as the man, or not your role naturally as the woman. So every one of us gets tested on the commitment character in marriage or in relationship. There have been families where both of them got into a relationship, and before you knew it, someone took ill, and then the test of commitment is whether you will leave them hanging and walk away. There are other times when someone's job is not doing as well as it should, and you're having to step in for them to fill in the void for that time. That's a test of your commitment in that relationship. But you see, people who are not able to throw in the commitment that is required of them can be said to be self-centered. Self-centered people do not believe that they should be committed to anybody. Self-centered people do not believe that they owe anybody anything. They feel that it's all about them, and that should be it. So your strength of conviction is measured by your commitment in a relationship. The strength of conviction that you have, that you are meant to be with that person, you are the best for them, they are meant for you, both of you are meant for one another. In this February, I felt that we shouldn't just talk about, the emotions, people going out, people buying. February 14 has come and gone, but people who are married are still in their relationships. Those who are engaged are still in their relationships. Those who need to get into certain kind of relationships, and even away from love relationship, So character traits play a huge role in how our relationships turn out. So if you are a selfish person, self-centered person, self-seeking person, you are likely to fail the test of commitment, because your conviction gets tested on that heels, and where you are not able to measure up, you find out that it cannot be proven right that you are truly committed. Everyone should prepare to the best of their knowledge. But you see, there are some things that will happen that were not planned, they were not factored in, they didn't seem like what would be one of the things that any relationship will go through. But when they come, it's a test of your conviction. And how to pass the test is commitment. How to pass the test is called commitment. Commitment is crucial. Commitment is crucial. So I'm going to give you one or two things. I'll be sharing practically from my story today. And I called it all shades of commitment. I have come to see that relationships and marriages in particular are shades of commitment, different forms of commitment. There are a lot of men who may have grown in homes where they believe that the man is not supposed to do certain things in the family. And then they get married to this person they call the love of their life. And as they go into the journey, they find out that there are things they need to stand in for that person. Whether tradition says yes or not, whether culture says yes or not, they can see the need. And that's a moment where your conviction is being tested. You have to be able to stand up for it and ensure that you don't fail those tests at that point. Okay? So these are not expert views on marriage, but these are character inclined views. All right. So I must say that one of the greatest ways you can express true love to anyone is to show commitment to them. Commitment can include care. Commitment can include looking out for people. Commitment can include sacrifice, like I said earlier. It can include going beyond the call of duty to ensure that you fill the void in your relationship, particularly if it's within your power to do it. If it's something that is within your capacity to do, stepping out there and ensuring that it is taken care of is commitment. It's beyond feelings. For every relationship in marriage, particularly that will do well, you must understand the dividing line between commitment and feelings. Feelings are good, but sometimes they don't do it when commitment comes calling. Because at that point, it is not just your heart that is thinking. Your head also wants to have a conversation with you to ask you whether you should go ahead with this or not. The values that you stand for at this moment will guide you to knowing what to do at that moment. So it's important to find out that it's beyond emotion. So commitment is beyond emotion, and the vows everyone took during their marriage are all sets of commitment. So I wrote in one of my pieces, I have a 3-part piece on Facebook that I titled All Shades of Commitment in Marriage. I did part 1, part 2, part 3. There are 19 points article because I wrote it during our 19th year anniversary as in marriage. Okay, so I brought it down to 19 points and said it was like a submission to say that having been married for 19 years, I can say that marriage is actually every shade of commitment that you can see. It is going beyond, thinking beyond you. It is doing those things that are slightly making it look as if you might sometimes be putting yourself under pressure just to make the other person or the other persons in the space feel, but you see, feel great. But that is what they eventually love, honor, and celebrate you for. That is what they eventually love, honor, and celebrate you for. So commitment is huge, even from the vows that you took to stay together and all. you must understand that commitment was what you signed up to. Now, at the beginning of every relationship, like most people that are married will tell you, no matter how fond of one another or friendly you've been before you got married, you have some things that look like strain at some point in the early years of your relationship. Commitment is what helps you stand at that point. That's not the time to be wondering whether you were meant to marry them or not. You thought you were convinced enough that they were for you and that you were good for one another before you said I do. And after saying I do, a few things around differences in personality, differences in cultural inclination, differences in upbringing, and the upbringing part can be huge. So there will be a few things that you keep saying to your spouse that I don't like this thing. I mean, I didn't grow this way. I would wish this is not done like this. And you find out that it's not a switch for them. It's not like they are not committed to you or they do not want to change, but the onus is on you at that point to see that it's an area they are struggling with. So what do you need to do at that point? It is to help them through the journey. You can sign some people up for a course. So for instance, somebody says that, oh, my wife doesn't dress the way I want her to dress. It's very easy. You might not be too good at helping her learn how to dress, but you can sign her up for a class. Maybe they call it their finishing school. You can sign her up for a finishing school that is not so expensive, where she can learn it. That's commitment. See, when that commitment is done, it is interpreted as love in the heart of the spouse or the partner. But when you see that someone has a gap or they have a minus or a weakness, and all you do is point it out to them, you point it out and keep pointing it out, and you take no step to help them see how they can overcome it, that's not a show of commitment. That's not a show of commitment. It is not a show of commitment. So with commitment comes actions and not just words. With commitment comes actions and not just words. Actions are not just words. Because in life, as you go on in your relationship, there are things I call issues of life. Issues of life can happen. Things you never planned for can happen. That's not the time to throw your hands up and wonder if this was meant to be at all. So love is commitment. I'll leave a quote with you here as I begin to put all that I've said together. Love is a living thing. I remember writing that on my Facebook timeline this week, sometime this week. Love is a living thing. Out of my plenty of meditations many years ago, I came to that conclusion that love is actually a living thing. It can grow and it can die. How does love grow? How does it die? Essential for us to know in the month of February, as the February month wraps up, but our lives continue, our love lives continue. You must know that love is a living thing. It can grow and it can die. So you can go from loving one another, holding one another everywhere you are going, hugging one another on the express road, slapping one another, resenting one another, and hating one another. It can die. Many of the people in courts today seeking to be legally, to have their marriages legally dissolved, could have saved it. How? The character called commitment is huge. So I came to that conclusion and I said, love is a living thing. Love can grow, love can die. That's part A. Part B is that love grows through commitment, but dies through negligence. Love grows through commitment, but dies through negligence. Whether it was your interest to neglect or not, whether it was intentional or not, does not matter. Every time negligence or neglect is on wide display, it saps commitment of its life. It rubbishes what things are supposed to be. So, point I'm making for everyone joining today, both on Facebook and on Instagram, and for our text version on YouTube is the fact that love is a living thing. It lives on the oxygen called commitment. When commitment is lacking, there is no oxygen for love. Now, someone says, isn't love that emotional thing that you have? It is true. But you see, I've come to that point where I know that there are two, I've been able to come to that point. I told myself, there are two straight aspects of love. There is the emotional part and there is the commitment part. Under commitment is where responsibility is. And because emotions are temporary, but commitment is permanent if you are intentional. That's why many of the relationships that have lasted have been built more on both than on one. When you are committed, it can easily be interpreted as love. But when you love emotionally and you do not commit to that person, to their lives, to the people, you can ultimately be said to have missed out on what it should be. So there are two oxygens that love lives on. Commitment is major, and I can put another C and call it communication. But you see, even deciding to communicate is commitment. So commitment is huge. Commitment is huge. For instance, you can decide not to talk about something that hurts you because you felt that they should know. That person should know. At that point, your commitment is being tested. There's a strain on your commitment because you already know that if you talk about it, things will become better. But for you to hold back, what you are holding back is your commitment to talking or communicating at that point in time. So you have a choice at that moment to say, I'll go ahead in the interest of getting stronger to talk. And then when you are communicating, you are ensuring that your communication is peace-headed, not trouble-headed. Because again, commitment can have different aspects. Different aspects. So, there are so many things that we can talk about, but our time today is very short. I have a class for people who are interested tomorrow, and it's absolutely free. My team has decided that we'll do it both on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll do YouTube. So you can join us on Mind Your Character, Instagram, and RCB, pardon me, RCB Instagram, RCB YouTube, and I'll also be on Bosede Olusola-Obasa. What are we talking about tomorrow? We are looking at red flags. So all I've been doing this month is helping you look at things that are sapping your relationship of breath, that threaten over time to crash it or crush it. As we celebrate the month of love, we want love to live indeed. We don't want mouth-seeking love. We don't want things that we are just looking good together outside. Inside, we are fighting. That's not something anyone should do to their own destinies. So we want to be sure. And I'm sure that for every relationship, there's something, of course, except you have overgrown it. And both of you have been able to come to a consensus on how that thing should be managed. But a lot of people haven't. So it makes that class tomorrow very important. At 10 a.m., we'll be live on all of these platforms. And what we are doing is helping you see how you can even know that you may have been hurting someone without knowing. So tomorrow, we'll be looking at how to be sensitive to your spouse, how not to be insensitive, and how not to be oversensitive. All of these are different patterns of feelings that can affect how committed you are becoming to your relationship. So tomorrow by 10 a.m. I will be live and I will be taking a class on red flags that can affect your relationship and how to manage them. Some people do not know, so they are actually wrong innocently. They are not aware that what they are doing is wrong. Some people are aware, but they do not know how to jolt themselves out of it. And some people thought that, well, it's a passing phase. Nobody should care. Meaning that they know, but they do not care. that again is not a safe place to stay. So whatever your category, tomorrow at 10 a.m. on all of the platforms where I'm streaming Mind Your Character from today, we will be taking a class. I will be telling you a bit about some things you should do to yourself so that you are a better person to your spouse. For instance, I will mention to you something about self-assessment. I'll mention to you about self-discovery. I'll tell you a bit about self-awareness. I'll tell you something about there are about 5 lines of those items I have stated out. At the end of the day, it's supposed to make you a better version of you so that the person in your life can be thankful that they have you. There are things we have grown with and we thought that they should be permanent with us. Who says they have to be permanent? As long as it's not yet the best version of you, you should always work towards becoming better. Particularly if they help you model the right roles to your children. Because again, some of the things we do, we are making our children borrow a leaf from it without knowing. It's not enough to say, this is me, I'm the father, take me like that. I'm the mother, take me like that. You are actually creating a reflex for the next generation. If it doesn't look like what you want them to go through, then you have to commit yourself. That word again, commit yourself to changing. So today I've talked about commitment, and I have a load of things to talk about commitment, but I do not have the time to talk about all of that. Under commitment, there are times that we endure things rather than fight over them. There are so many things that commitment makes you do. That makes it the strength part of love, the stronger part of love, the other part of love that you must make sure that you have going on for you. I really want you to have a beautiful experience continuously in your relationship. And if you do it right at home, you just might find out that you are a good people manager or good people's person out there, because it will never leave you. What you are at home, you take to wherever you go. So talking about this February for us at RCV and for myself has been very, 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 very rewarding, because we know that whatever you learn to do better with people that you love and are close to you, you just are the same person everywhere and anywhere, and the world is better off because of you. Let's meet at 10. If you know other people that might be interested, please just jolt them and tell them to join. There will be live notification. Notifications will have gone live. And for those who've registered already, we will be sharing the link live so that they can join us. It's going to be an exciting time, and we'll be there for just about an hour plus, and then we'll be done. So please don't join late. Thank you so much for joining today. What we've talked about today, you can very well conclude that there is no love that can survive without the character trait called commitment. Learn to be committed to whatever you do. Put in your best. Get your hands dirty. Roll up your sleeves. Serve. Serve, serve, serve. Go out of your way. There are moments when your body is not even feeling like it. That's when to matter the most. When you are doing something, even when everything about you says, "Whoa, I don't feel like." And there may be times when you think that your spouse doesn't deserve it. It's a huge call, and I know that you're able to do it. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined on Facebook. Thank you, Madam Ekanen. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Mr. Iwu Basil. Thank you so much, Reverend Olusola-Obasa. Thank you for everyone who joined me on Instagram. The show today has been Mind Your Character, and today we've talked about, can any relationship survive based on the lack of commitment? Answer is no. For more on any of the topics you might want to follow, you can catch up with any of our videos, particularly on YouTube, and plenty of value for you there. Please make out time to get in there, subscribe, and then please tell others to do the same. Thank you so much. It's been a rewarding time, and it's just a tip of the iceberg. Let's meet tomorrow, and we're getting better all the way and every day. Bye now. I want my music to play for you. Cheers to commitment. Bye.